Welcome to Spiritually Unchained, the channel for the awakening ones or the already awakened ones. I am Jamhuri, your host. I am doing this recording while I am walking. It is on September 12th, 2023. So you might hear some crunching sounds underneath my feet. I come alive and I get inspired when I am out in nature, and a lot of messages come through, and sometimes there are so many that I get overwhelmed and I almost want to turn them off. Today is a very special day, and I was inspired by a spiritual YouTuber, a Kenyan YouTuber called Dr. Mumbi Seraki, and today I was so my solar plexus or my gut was churning or stirring, and I felt fire, like it was full of fire, and it felt like a balloon that was filling up and just expanding, and I felt like I was almost bursting. And I just turned it off. I turned it off because I could not. So many ideas came through my mind. I couldn't contain myself. And I was inspired by her courage because she talks about some really tough things that are hard to listen to. And I sent her prayers because the light workers, they need a lot of protection, because we're given such tough messages to share to the public, to the collective. What I want to share today is a thought that I'm feeling that I am returning more and more to myself as an African, and I am getting a lot of pull towards understanding the religious beliefs of my ancestors long before Christianity came about. And when I think about spirituality and religion, I cannot stop but see how we were affected as Africans by the colonial system. And I've asked myself many times, because I live outside of Africa now since 37 years. So I live in Canada. And I got really lost because I realized how much, as a Kenyan that was colonized by the British, how much I did not know. I had embraced a lot of British habits, and even in the church, the way we did church and everything like that. And my question for a very long time was, why did God think that we Africans are not good enough and we need the Western people to come and bring us God and say our way of doing things is not good enough? Our God, which is a God, I believe now, that we all, humanity, whether we live in the jungle, whether we live in the Amazon, whether we live in the city jungle, when you are alone, where does your heart go to? Where do your prayers go to? If you're a seeker of God, I have realized that my prayers and your prayers and the prayers of all those people out there, they go to the divine creator, and they all merge to the same creator. We may call that creator many, many ways, many, many names. It's because we have our own languages, our own expressions. But it doesn't mean that your God is evil, mine is evil. We have to bring our God to you. And the reason I say this confidently is the last few years, 15 years, I've been working with people from all over the world as a liaison worker, working among immigrants from many religions. And when we sit one-to-one and we talk in depth and hear their needs and their desires and the cries of their hearts and their and who they pray to. One day it clicked that they are praying to the same God I'm praying to. Their prayers, their desires, all of a sudden we merged into one. And the next few days after that, I realized we have been fooled. Somebody came around and divided us to rule us and to say we're so different and to make us fight one another and do religious wars that was so unnecessary. So now I've gone on my spiritual journey. I've gone through the awakening, and a lot of things have been revealed to me and are very clear that there was nothing wrong with the African way of doing things, of praying to God. We were authentically African. We were praying to our God. And whoever was out there in England, they were praying to their God. And they had no business coming to erase our religions, our spirituality, and name it so horrible and ban it and brand us and given us a foreign way of worshiping that crippled our freedom. And when I talk about spirituality and African religion and cultures and all this, it brings about politics. But I also have a political side of me. And so I have to embrace all that. And so when I got awakened and I go on my spiritual journey, which has nothing to do with church, it has something to do with God. Because all my life I realized I'm seeking God, the heart of God, the essence of God, and not religion. Because I had a problem with religion because there were so many, I felt people meddled in and brought their own cultural traditions and rules and say this is how we should behave so that God can love you more. And if you live like that, you can never please God. You can never hit the mark. There is no, and I really put myself deep into seeking God through churches. And to the point that I decided one day I'm going to go to Bible school. I want to find God there. And when I went there, I did not find God. And I got even disillusioned much more. Until in 2016, I went on this other journey. I did not choose to go that way, but I had just got fed up. And I say, God, I need you. I really need you. I don't need religion. I don't need all these people telling me the way to go, which is not. It just doesn't sit right. And a couple of months ago, I did a course with one of the spiritual teachers that I follow, a yogini. And I said to her, the more I follow this path, I find that I'm returning more and more to my African roots. And I remember a lot of the ways of my ancestors when I was a kid, how they worshipped. And even now as I go out in nature, I discover God speaking to me, especially when I'm out there here in the prairie. I'm surrounded by grass right now and some fields that have been harvested. So it is not really like a jungle, but fields. But I feel that God is speaking to me when I'm out there, when I'm out of the house, when I'm alone, when the wind is blowing over me, or when it's snowing, when it's raining, and I feel that gut, that heart connection to God. And my intuition gets heightened, and I hear God's voice, speaking to me. When I asked that, she said, that it was a very interesting question, and she said a lot of the people that are really spiritual, most of them, the indigenous people, they are very close to nature, and nature has a way of stirring your spirit, your connection to God. And so she said, when you're following this path, because I remember the mantras that my people spoke, the blessings that my ancestors spoke, the kind of things they used, the way they treated water and saw water as something really precious. And when they even want to bless somebody, they will sprinkle water over them. And in my spiritual journey right now, in my awakening journey, water is one of the most powerful elements. It is life itself. It is so powerful to heal, to destroy, to create. So those are the things that came to me today that I want to, in the coming weeks, months, I think I'll be returning more and more into my cultural ways, my African beliefs and prayers, and I'm gonna do that unapologetically. This has been pulling me for a very long time. And when I listened to Dr. Mumbi Seraki spiritual show, and today she ignited again that fire in me, and there are more and more people returning to their ways, how they worshipped, how their ancestors worshipped, and we worshipped God. And so there are people who might come across this message and they would say so many probably negative things, because you think about religion as a church, as an organized. No, I am okay to be criticized about this. I've been there, I've done that. I've been in the heart of Bible school. I've left. I have, you know what? Now I feel I'm in the right path. And I declared one time in my life, I said, and I even wrote a song about it. I say, you know what, God? Only you can judge me. Only you can judge me. Because people can judge me so many ways, or judge others, and they can throw hell there, they can do all that, and they themselves are not perfect. And as long as God is watching me and seeing my ways, I said, you can judge me when I'm down, when I'm up, when I'm not okay, whatever, when I do things that are not okay. You know what? You are the boss. And so I leave my life in your hands to judge. And God is so loving, and I'd rather God is the judge of my life. I can deal with that, because I have walked with God all my life, and we have a tight relationship, and I know I'm loved. I know I am cared for. I am provided for. I declared the other day that God is my number one life companion, my number one life support, my number one life partner, my number one above everything. This is how tight I am with the divine. And so I don't know what you're going through in your life, but you will be shown the way. You would be shown the way. And in going through this, I ask you and I encourage all of us to be spiritually unchained. That means go with the flow. Where God is taking you, go, flow. Do not allow yourself to be tied down by human-made ways and, chains and, whatever. If you're a seeker, I think you've come to the right place. Let God speak to your heart. Listen to your intuition. You will be all right. We will be all right. And so it is.